and go around the room. And I just start with I think everybody's last 4 digits of their number. I'll start with Antoine, since I see your name, Antoine. Checking in to see if you got any questions, comments, or concerns over exactly how does the funding work from the DTC and DTCC side of things. You got any questions on that?
Happy Holy Day, brother.
Happy Holy Day.
I guess I have a few questions, but one of my main questions is what I've been running into is being able to assess clients that really can't prove their income, so I can start, so I need a head to assist me. Wow, echoing in my ear. Can you hear that?
Yeah, it's about a little echoing here. This is what I'll do. Give me a second, bro. Let me. Could I get everybody else that's not Antoine to mute themselves, please? If you can, then that should cut out on the background. All right. Okay, bro. This is what I'm gonna do. Help you out. I'm gonna share my screen with you. All right, my screen's now being shared. Let me show you how you pre-quad, because I'm going to go inside the software to show you what the parameters are so you'll know what you need to be asking. That's the best way for you to understand how to get the intel that you're looking for. All right, can you see my screen, Antoine?
Yes, I see it.
All right. Now, the client that's in question is going to be told to go to this website right here. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's this one right here. I think it's this website right here. Just bear with me. I think it's this one here. No, not this one. Legal Jacks. All right, hold on, because I want to take a shortcut to this website, and I'm going to have to do it this way. I got a lot of stuff going on today, and I got to remember where everything is at. All right, so let's find diversity. Legal Jacks is what I'm looking for. Legal Jacks right there. And boom. All right, they're going to go to the Legal Jacks. It's going to come up right here. It's loading it up. And when the client goes to this website to put their information, all right, here we go right here. Let me move this out of the way because this is blocking my view. They're gonna go to this website. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the share so it doesn't get crazy for me. And then I'll bring it back up when we get to where we're trying to get to. All right, I'm gonna copy this. put it over here because I just need it over here so I can show Mr. Antoine how this is going to go. Hopefully it'll bring him in there the right way. Let's see. Still not doing what I wanted to do. Yeah, it's not. That's because you're moving too fast. See, you wanted to do this, but you're going to have to close this, and you're going to have to go into there and copy and paste it right here. Now it'll show up. Copy, paste it, paste and go. There we go. We'll go ahead and close that. We'll let that do what it do. There we go. All right, your client's going to go into this website. I'm going to bring it up as soon as it finishes populating. When they go into the website, the form that they're filling out has pertinent lines of information that's going to populate on a UCC. When you record something on a UCC, from what you've learned up until this point, how can you take what's being filed on a UCC1 and authenticate and verify it? When you file a UCC, don't they do something to the actual document, like register it?
Yeah, they're going to register with the Secretary of State, and then you get the unique identifier.
All right, they're going to give you a unique identifier that we're going to call a control number, right?
Right.
So once that has whatever data that you put on that sheet, once it's been registered and verified in that database. Now, what was your question again?
Clients that's not able to show pay stubs. They're making money, but I need to be able to authenticate.
All right. So clients who, if you put that information on a UCC, then you can verify. You put it on everything else but a UCC, then we're going to get into a legal question.
Okay. I got you.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay, that answers your question?
Yeah, that answers my question. Yeah, I wasn't
I
wasn't sure about it.
Yeah, because what I was attempting to show you in this regard was that the form that's on this website here, when you go to the bottom of the screen, and I'm gonna share the screen again so you can see it, see what I'm talking about. All right. When you go to the bottom of this screen, it's asking for the name of the entity. It's asking for the address, phone number, email, name of creditor, creditor address, name of debtor, debtor address, collateral description, type of asset, type of liability, type of entity. When you put all that information, it populates it over to a UCC in this file. Whatever you put on there has been what? Authenticated and verified by a non-interested third party.
That's beautiful.
Okay. All right. Any other questions you have for me, Mr. Antoine?
Not at the moment.
Okay. All right. So what I'm gonna do?
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Wouldn't he be able to also like affidavit, like a financial statement, and then attach that to the UCC?
I heard part of your question. You got to repeat it. Repeat your question again.
I was saying, wouldn't Antoine like a financial affidavit, like a financial statement, it's formatted like an affidavit, attach that to the UCC?
Right. See, when you file UCCs, they just gonna let you onboard information, but they're gonna want you to what? Upload supporting documents. So the supporting documents should be all those things that you're talking about: affidavits, security agreements, exhibits. The form, the public can only utilize form, not substance. So think about your documents as the substance. Think about the little line items that I just showed you as the form. The public is based on form. It's form over substance. In the private, it's substance over form. So when you literally make these filings, you're doing a private conveyance and a public conveyance simultaneously. The data's going to end up in a register on a form, and then they're going to get physical specimens, and then then that information, that data, is going to be used in a monetization or hypothecation format. All right. So I'm going to go down the line. Questions pertaining to how funding works from the DTC and DTCC. Is there anyone else that has a question pertaining to how does that work?
Are we just asking questions, or are you going to choose by our last numbers?
Yeah, let me do it. Let's go by the last number, so that way I won't get everybody all in a tandem. So everybody here's what I'm gonna do, because that way I won't. I'm gonna put everybody on mute.
Muted.
And I'm just going to go down randomly and just unmute persons. Let's see. I think I got Brother Clark. Brother Clark, can you hear me? Brother Clark, can you hear me?
I think you unmuted my phone.
I think I unmuted your phone. All right, let me.
That's okay. I got a question.
Hold on. Let me give everybody a chance, and I'm gonna come back to you. Give me a minute.
All right.
Let's see. All right, let's go. Cause see, I know what's happening. All right, we got Trey. Let's see here. All right, Brother Clark, I should be able to hear you now. You got a question?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, as far as with the arbitration situation going on with trustee, how do I introduce that system?
Your phone kind of has your voice going everywhere, so I heard like every other word, so I'm not sure.
Let me see if I can see myself. Can you hear me better now?
That's a little better. Go ahead, ask your question again.
I was saying the arbitration that I have going, the trustee how do I use that so I can keep it on the air for the Christmas so that it can be monetized? Restart this.
I heard monetize. I heard how can I I'm having a hard time because you're sounding muffled. I can't hardly make out what the question you're asking.
I'm on my backup phone. I'm dead. issues right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying
Okay.
to call the phone.
If you can, if go into the chat and type your question.
Okay.
Put your question in the chat, and then I'll do my best to kind of answer it. All right. You can go ahead and put yourself back on mute. All right. I'm gonna go down to, let's see, Mr. Keanu. Mr. Keanu, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess the question that I want starts from arbitration, correct?
Correct.
So then, the PF9 form, 1090, all that's on the DTC, or is it on the DTC?
Okay. So when you're doing, I heard. All right. So what form you're talking about? So I can tell you what side of the fence it's on.
Well, class it was 90.
1098F is what you're talking about?
Yeah, that too, but yeah, on the you gave P990.
A P what?
P990.
Oh, 990 PF. Okay, a 990 PF. All right. Here. Okay, a 990 PF form is on the side of the. All right, so you got the DTC. So I'm gonna try because the list of forms that you're gonna use, you can use some forms in both spaces. So let me kind of clear this up because a lot of you new guys, you're gonna get yourself confused. Like there isn't just a set of forms that you're going to use and you can't use it in the other space. It's all about who you are in the transaction. So I'm gonna try to explain it where it makes even more sense by saying it this way. It doesn't matter what form you use. It's just that if you're using a 990 on the DTC side, what is a 990 form? It's an accounting ledger. So if you're on the DTC side, what form are you using to substantiate the accounting if you use a 990 on the part of the equation where you made the deposit? In other words, think about it in foreign banking. If you make a deposit at the ATM and you need a record of that, can't you prompt the ATM to print you out a receipt when you make a deposit? At that moment? Okay. So the 990 PF is like prompting the ATM to print you out a receipt. That proves what you did at that particular time. You deposit cash, you put a check in, whatever the case may be. All right? Now, the person on the other end of the transaction is going to need some sort of statement of account because for some reason in their accounting, even though they done got paid through the system, they still haven't conveyed it yet. And to keep the people on the other end quiet or off their neck, they got to show that you made that payment. But how can the recipient show that you made a payment? Now, you got your copy of your receipt of what you did. What can the recipient do? Can't they go inside of their account and look at something and print out a statement of account showing that a deposit was made?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the question is, what does that look like for the recipient? What form are you using to substantiate that the deposit was made?
1098.
Okay. If you're doing a 1098, the 1098F, pull up the form and read it to me. Tell me what it says you can use that form for. Because if I tell you, you're gonna get confused. I need you to just look at it. You need to look at it. While you're looking at it, while you're bringing it up, all right. Let's see if my algorithm gonna do what I needed to do. And by George, oh, we got a 1098F. All right, Let's keep on, keeping on. Let's go here. Mm-hmm. Now here's where it gets interesting. Symmetric information is going to say Form 1098F is a tax document used in the United States to report student loan interest payments. It is provided by the entity that received the student loan payments, typically a financial institution or government agency. The purpose of the Form 1098F is to inform the borrower and the Internal Revenue Service about the amount of the student loan interest paid during the tax year. This information is important for the borrower who may be eligible to deduct their student loan interest payments from their taxable income, typically reducing their overall tax liability. Now, here's what the public will read. Mr. Bay said, I can use this form to put this into the DTC, and the form says nothing about that. But keep listening, because if you listen long enough, you'll learn something. First off, the form has an OMB number on it. And that OMB number is also going to tie to the same type of OMB number that's on a 1040 form. What most individuals don't understand is that OMB number that's on the tax form is really a whistleblower form. And when you fill out a 1040, you're actually signing on to be the author of all the debt. You're thinking that you're filling out this form and it's to get your taxes back and this, that, and the other, and somehow getting some sort of tax return is a good thing. But those of you who have gone through the truth about the income tax know that they put the wrong form number and you are volunteering for the tax. So them giving it a title of Form 1098F is deceptive and also misleading. But here's how to correct it. When you get into the key points of the form, they start using words like what? Issuer, recipient. And when you go to the definition page, they'll define what an issuer is. They'll define what a recipient is. If you want the real definition, you'll go to form or booklet publication 1212. Because 1212 will tell you when they say the word issuer, they're talking about financial institution. When they're talking about recipient, they're talking about a borrower. And we're not just talking about a borrower of student debt. We're talking about a borrower who's been made subject to debt. Like if you're the author of all credit, are you the borrower or the lender? If your signature creates money, are you the borrower or the creditor in that scenario? If you signed a document and that document became the fuel that kicked everything off, are you the borrower or the lender? Say it loud so the recording can hear you. You're the what?
The lender.
That's right. You're the lender. So if you're the lender, why on earth are you volunteering to be the borrower? Because nobody told you. And you're thinking that's what it is. And you're not looking up these form numbers that they're putting in front of you. That's why you got to understand that asymmetric information is being used to keep you governed in that space. The 1098F, it tells you on the form in its description, like I'm going to bring it up. We're going to look at it. All right, 1098F. I mean, I got one right here, so I ain't even got to go through all of that. Let's just go right here. 1098F. 1098F. 1098, 1099, 1098. Let's do it like this because this is going to take us a little longer than what I want to spend trying to do all this. 1098F. Yeah, come on. Says on the form is used for fines, penalties, and other amounts. And the lines on the form are asking for the filer's name, the filer's tax identification number, the filer's TIN, the filer's name, address. Then we have, and this is what we call the money shot, OMB number 1545-2284. We'll have another class on that one day. Then we have amount to be paid for violations or potential violation. We have number 3, restitution and remediation amount. Then we have number 4, compliance amount. Then we have number 6, court or entity. Number 7, case number. Number 8, case name and names of parties to suit and orders and agreements. In case, and then number 9, there's a code. Now riddle me this, Batman. Does that sound like it's supposed to be used for student loans?
No.
Okay. So when you don't understand, not saying you don't know how to read, but we don't read, you end up swinging left and right in the dark and hitting nothing. So based upon the information this form wants, this 1098F can take what you've got in arbitration and convey it over to another what? Institution. Well, let's go back to the receipt because that was the question. Can't this serve as a receipt?
No.
Listen to the. Can't you place on, if you take, let's say you use UCCs on the DTC side of the fence, and then you want to use the DTCC coming in from a foreign capacity, the same amount. Couldn't you use a 1098F to do that?
Yeah, copy. Yeah.
Okay, let's flip it around. Let's say you use the 1098 to put it into the DTCC. Couldn't you use a UCC to pull it out on the DTCC side?
Yeah.
Okay. So what was your question again?
So the question was exactly what a 990TF was.
All right, the 990 is a public inspection form. It's an ledger, and it can be used without you breaking the integrity of the estate. It's a ledger that you can make public.
Okay. So this is like receipt, and the receipt just validates what the 1098F is saying?
Right. For example, the 990 PF form is what you show to folks when they want to know, well, what accounting are you using? What's the income? What's the balance sheet? Show them that. If they want to show proof, then that's when you go to your receipts.
Got you.
If they want verification, then let them know that it was filed with the state on UCC.
So do you have to report these or turn them in with the other agencies before you turn it in with the court registry? Or no?
It depends on who you are. If you're a slave in the system, you better be telling these folk what you're doing. If you in the public, you better. They might not take you to prison, but they won't tax you to death, though. That's what they do. That's how it works. Debtors file creditors report.
So you
That's
don't
enough. You need to, if you're a creditor report what's going on. If you're a debtor, you're going to file.
Right. Okay. So you don't need to necessarily report it with them if you act as a creditor or.
Let's be clear. If you are a debtor, unequivocally, whether you're a debtor or a creditor, everybody got to do the homework and do accounting. I'm not telling nobody you're gonna have to do some accounting. Now, how you do it is subject to whatever concept or provision you take.
Okay.
I got some people that think just because they got a trust, they don't have to do nothing. And we're gonna clear that and kill that myth today. I'm telling you right now, if you saying you're a trustee, you're the hardest working man in show business. You reporting, you are taking full responsibility of everything. It's a luxury to be a debtor. A debtor's got limited liability. I know this is gonna sound strange, but taking you to prison when you can't convey, that's a benefit. And a lot of people don't realize, well, why I gotta go to jail? Because you're standing there, you're a double-minded man. They ask you, how do you plead? You say not guilty. In your head, you thinking not guilty means I didn't do it. No, what you said is I might have didn't do that, but I'm probably guilty of something else. That's what you said. That's how they gonna construe it, because they said anything you say can and will be used against you. Why they gotta use it against you? Because they're trying to get some money. It's about commerce. They have to tax you in order for this whole thing to work. It's a commerce game, and you can't have creditors and no debtors. Let me ask you this, and this is a moral question. If the judge sitting on the bench got on no underwear, do you think it's fair that he judge everyone else that got on underwear? If he ain't got no underwear?
No.
So if the judge represents an institution who is a belligerent debtor, but they want to bang your credit out and make you sound like you worth, lower than dirt and this, that, and the other, and they and the country that they represent ain't paying its bills. Do you think that's fair?
No, it's not.
Okay. Now, you can't go in there banging like that. You know what you can do? Since you said you're the creditor, we're going to do the accounting. Here's my receipt when I went to the ATM. I made the deposit. There's the credit. Here's a tax form to go get it. Now, if you can't take this tax form and go get that credit, there ain't no debt. That's what you can do. And that's perfectly lawful and legal. That's not even adversarial. That's not you saying I'm not guilty. That's you saying, all right, I plead guilty to the fact. All right, you say I owe money. I want to pay the money, but you got to tell me what I owe. Show it to me. Because when you show it to me, you're showing me an account of record. Now I can go to my statement of account and show, well, look, there's the credit. Here's the form. Go get it. Because if you don't use this form to go get it, you got to put on your book now that I don't owe nothing. I'm going to say this a different way. If you go through arbitration and someone wants to be paid and you put that amount on a 1098-F, now it's another form based upon who they pretending to be that they need in order for them to settle the book. What is the form I always talk about as a lately if you're domestic that you can use to move value out of the CRIS to someone who has a tax ID number and is bonded and insured? All entities that have a tax ID number that is bonded and insured by law have to accept the K-1 disbursement when it's been substantiated properly. So when you put it on this 1098-F, if they want to use that credit, you're going to give them a what? A K-1. Now, if they're a foreign corporation, you're going to give them a K-2 or a K-3 if they're a trust or something like that. You follow me?
Okay.
Any other question?
That's it. Yeah, I got one question. When you have like a person client, you're going to be doing all these more client, or is one
When you have okay, when you so I'm trying to hear your question because it sounds like you're going in and out, like your volume is like going in and out. So I'm trying to have a hard time making out what you're saying.
okay? I said when you have a man, you're going to be putting all these properties together. I turn in the paperwork just to you for the utilization. I had a part of the securitization audit.
I'm having a real hard time hearing you. I'm hearing every other word. Hold on. Let me see if I can fix this because this is driving me nuts. I don't understand why I'm not hearing what everybody's saying. All right, let's see if I'm gonna have to switch my deal here. Hold on. All right, let's go here to the mic. All right, that's the speaker. That's the mic. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. All right, so let me see if I can. All right, let's try to go. I don't understand why. We'll just keep going because I can't. I mean, repeat your question because I don't understand what you're saying.
I was saying that your own client, do you have to submit with the security audit? Are you going to provide whole process or arbitration?
You're asking me. I'm going to provide what?
Arbitration for a client not in the system.
Arbitration for a client not in the system. You're asking. All right, so make sure I'm understanding the question. Are you asking that? Do I do arbitration for someone that's not in the system? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So here's the deal. When we arbitrate, it's not just for you. It's for the client. It's on behalf of the client. If the client is going to be making a real estate purchase, we're doing an arbitration on that entire proceeding. Now, we may break it up into phases because the questions that they may ask are going to be from a notarial standpoint, and I'm not allowed to give legal advice. But when I'm in front of other notaries, I am making instructions known to the other notaries. They just happen to be present when those instructions are being made. If they want more direct information, the notary that brought them to arbitration will serve as their legal counsel in that regard. So just like in the public, when they get a lawyer, they're not talking to the client, they're talking to the lawyer. When a notary is present, I'm not talking to someone who's not a notary. I'm only talking to notaries because that's the only person I can talk to. I can only talk to competent fiduciaries. So when we do arbitration, it is a way to bring them into a hearing through arbitrage where they get to witness fact and they can ask their questions based upon their commercial activity.
Okay.
So we're providing that process for not just one party, but to make all parties whole.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, that's it.
All right. Good deal. All right, you can put yourself back on mute. All right, I'm now going to go to the caller whose last 4 digits of their number is 9681. 9681. Can you hear me? Hello? 9681. There you go. Loud and clear. I can hear you, big bro.
Yeah. I don't really have a question. I just have I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
A couple classes back, you talked about a manual to be able to do this. I think it was yesterday you talked about if you had a manual to be able to do everything. And,
What type of manual? All right, we're talking about manual dealing with DTC and DTCC.
I don't think so. Like I know I have the manual for the K1 that you had gave out before, and you had mentioned about a manual yesterday.
Do you got the DTC implementation guide?
I don't think so. I'm not sure.
Okay, so you need that manual. So that's probably what I was referring to. Okay. So if you just make the request, let them know that you need a DTC implementation manual. I'll send you the link. I'll let you know what it costs, and then you can have at it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All righty. Okay, you can put yourself back on mute. Okay, we're gonna now go to the caller whose last four digits of their number is going to be 8452. 8452. I'm checking in to see if you got any questions, comments, or concerns over anything we talked about up until this point. Eight 452. Oh, I think that's my guy Ty. He might be a little shy. He's like, man, he's brand new to it. He just want to listen in. You ain't got no question for us, Ty? You got a question for me, man? All right, I'll put him back on mute. All right, let's see here. Let's see if I can bring in. Let's see. I think I can bring him in. Brother Jarvis, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right. Talk to me, man. You got any questions about how this funding work with the DTC and DTCC?
No, not at all. The way I got it with the that's one that you showed I think it was last week.
Say that again now.
The manual with the IRS.
The manual with the IRS or the manual with the DTC?
No, I'm first, man. I didn't form. I was trying to get the form.
Okay, so you're saying, do you need a manual, or I'm trying to understand.
No. For the form that list. Everything has a form.
Yep. Man, your phone going in and out too. Man, what is up with it? It's like I'm hearing every other word. It's like I can hear them and then it's fading away, and I'm having a hard time making out what they're saying. Let's see here. Let's see here. Oh man. All right, I tell you what. Let me log out and come back in. Maybe it's me. Hold on. Bezel Bay. All right, Jarvis, let's try this again. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right. Now that sounds better now. All right. Now ask your question again, big bro.
No, it wasn't much of a question. I remember a couple classes ago you had the manual with the IRS forms, a list of the IRS forms.
Okay, the manual with the list of the IRS forms. So you want to go through the list of forms that you potentially gonna use?
Yes.
All right. Okay. From the top, it's not in a specific order. It's just these are the type of forms that preferably you could use in this process. All your forms that are considered red font forms, like all of your 1099s, all of those forms, all 1099s need to be put on a 1096. So you know you're going to need a 1096 to put all your 1099s on. The different types of 1099s are going to be your 1099A, your 1099B, your 1099C, your 1099 OID, your 1099 INT. Then you have your accounting forms, which I'll call the 990 PF an accounting form. You also have another accounting form, which is going to be your form 1098F. So out of all those forms I just named, you're probably going to touch some or at least all of those forms in one form or fashion when you go through the securitization audit.
Gotcha. Got my list now. Because I want to call in and order all these.
There you go. Call in and get it your order. Exactly. And for those of you that already have done your KYC and 1098F from the portal with long disc, you need to call the IRS like Brother Jarvis is doing and place your order for those forms, because you're going to need the physical forms in your possession as a notary to do proper noting and minuting. Any other questions?
That'll be it.
That's you good? All right. Okay, Brother Trey, I think you might be getting unmute yourself, man. See if you can unmute yourself.
Okay. That's
All right,
finally my turn.
Okay. All right, ask your question, big bro.
Okay, so from what you're teaching is DTC is basically input or deposit.
Right.
Like putting in DTCC is withdrawal, taking it out.
Right.
Okay, so is there a form that we need to complete concerning DTC as far as being participants or being a permanent part of the settlement portion of the system?
That's a political question. That is an entity question. That's a legal question. So without giving me specifics, you can, because see, form is in the world of the public. Substance is in the realm of the private. And I can show you in both instances where the public and private sector are all in commerce in tandem. Tandem, keyword tandem. The wheels are going left, trailer's going right. You're standing in a mirror, you're holding the right hand up, but the reflection's holding the left hand up. That's tandem. So who are you in the transaction is my question.
So if I'm the settler.
Settler of what? So it's settling what? Settling.
Okay, so if I'm settling, in other words, if I'm depositing a securities to be settled.
Depositing a security to be settled. Is this security a public security or a private security?
Private.
Okay. Keep going.
So in that regard, if I'm understanding what I might be understanding is that you're saying that we don't necessarily have to be a part of that system, but we can still reap the same services?
You can, as a creditor, report. Debtors file. So if you are the public, you're going to be compelled because you're in a federal territory as a subject slave. If you are a creditor, you're just trying to collect your tributary tax. IRS is just simply a bookkeeping agency that's keeping record, and your job is to keep score and give them the score sheet. So they can help you. Go ahead.
So this goes back to what you were saying before. Once it's there, it's not our job to turn it into another format.
No, so exactly. That really revolves around, I call it what is, since we're having this conversation. The best way to keep a slave is to make them not want to be free. So for somehow, when you was a slave, you knew all the slave masters had gold and silver. Without gold and silver, you was not free. You was a slave. Somehow, when you finally got off the plantation, knowing that fact, you still it's not what you say, it's what you do in commerce that determines who you are. If you're a free man, you're operating in such a capacity. If you're flying in a plane, and even though they got a document that says the United States is carved up into these 50 states and this, that, and the other, when you get in the plane and you're hovering above the land, can you see where Georgia and Florida stop and starts?
No.
Okay. So it's only imaginary on what? Paper. And all you got to do is value just have to be agreed upon and conveyed. The money is created out of a double coincidence of one. If you got tomatoes, I got potatoes, and I want what you got and vice versa, that's money. You know, somehow in the modern day century, they say money doesn't grow on trees. I say, yes, it does. It's called apples and oranges. They do. It's just, so based on your school of thought and your accounting concepts or accounting conventions, that will determine where you get into reporting and filing based on your allegiances and agreements and contracts. I will say unequivocally, a good steward keeps records.
So as far as DTCC conveying over the credits to pay a public obligation,
right?
So then the evidence of that will be from the person that we're transacting with.
Correct. Because whoever you're conveying with, just like the public, the only people you see in the public is other notaries. Everybody else they're just in the way. They're brokers. They're just middlemen in the way of commerce. You as a notary can only hand your documents to another notary. That's what makes this real simple. They're gonna have a lawyer and all that stuff. All right, where's your lawyer? Where's your notary? Because that's who you're dealing with. Oh, we got to see such and such and take it to the court. Okay, where's the notary? Are they upstairs? Is the clerk? Isn't she a notary? Okay, you clear up those facts. So that way, when you get into these conversations that get you entangled, like you can't do this. This is illegal. Well, when you say illegal, are you implying that it's taxable, not taxable? Right. See, when you don't know that, everybody in commerce is supposed to know that. But because they don't, that's why you got to have insurance and reinsurance. Reinsurance doesn't protect the person who don't know what the hell they doing and they just out there, oops, I'm sorry. It's for the people who know. See, they play this whole game on a population of people that are called slaves where they got to have insurance in case you stray too far off the board.
Okay, so the purpose behind my question was I was thinking about trustee compensation.
Yes.
And I was thinking about the
1099 NEC. That's the form. Keep going.
Okay. So what I was thinking about was when we did the 15 trust structure.
Right.
And it shows that we have to have holdings, settlement, and disbursement.
Yes.
So I was looking at it from the standpoint of the trust be having membership with DTC.
Yes.
So that
you have a membership with the DTCC by its actions, and let's talk about it. You have sponsors, brokers, and agencies that are licensed to keep non-members out of the game. If you are an accredited investor, you get the benefit from the security settlement because all your actions in commerce is going to tether to some sort of what? Unsolicited private security that you're only passing around your family office and family associations and private members, this, that, and so forth. But you got to get the public, an arena to play in too. That's why they get into the let's pretend stock exchange and all that good stuff, which is a fancy way of actually these corporations are doing the accounting that you won't do, so they get all the benefit and give you all the liability. That's why they have to have it operate in tandem. That's why you get. Go ahead.
So with the private conveyances, if we have a CUSIP on there, so
you're letting them play in the public. You're providing a service and a benefit, so you can call yourself a creditor because that CUSIP is tied to a mechanism that's to lighten the burden of government. If you got a tax ID number and you're not doing your part to lighten the burden of government, and everything you do is adding to the debt clock, not slowing it down, are you a benefactor or are you a protractor? You're a benefactor or a protractor. If your actions, you follow me?
Yeah, I will be a protractor if I'm not doing anything to help to lighten the burden.
That's right. So there are accounting rules to go after the ones that's not doing the accounting. So if you don't want the penalties, do your homework. You want to, look over your shoulders everywhere you go. Keep going to work, keep going to work, keep coming to class, keep coming into class and saying the dog ate your homework. And what had happened was.
So I guess what I'm thinking about is it's been stated that everything is a securities. Every time we get a public utility, traffic tickets, whatever. Okay, so since they're securities, then how are we monetizing them without CUSIP numbers, or
you do the accounting? Think about accounting as a group of levers. So they say there's 100 levers. That's all that's in existence. 100 levers. 100 we consider as an even number. So here's the deal. When you start commerce, out of these 100 levers, you may only touch 15. So the remainder got to reconcile against those 15 that you did use. Now, as you learn, you get to play with more levers and you get more opportunities to bring balances. Technically, when you graduate to trusteeship, where every time you think about a move, that's a separate entity, a separate trust, a separate occurrence. Once it's done, it has its own set of books, accounting, and reporting. If it needs to go somewhere else, that's another trust. That's another accounting method, and it works in tandem with the first one, and it's in perpetuity. You give the first one enough information where it can be self-revocating, and it'll evolve because it's going to, whatever it brought into the world of form, it has to have the equal amount of substance to support it. And if I give credit away, that means it's owed back to me. My job is to warrant that coming back. I got to create enough securities to keep the game going. I don't need the government to give me anything. I just got to put them on notice. See, I've agreed to be fully responsible for the integrity of the estate. So I'm going to provide indemnities and insurance because all those indemnities and insurance are based on what? Performance. What are you performing? Accounting. I'm holding the responsible parties accountable. That's the performance. Lack of accountability, you're now passing now the levers that you could play with. You're not even playing with a whole lever. You're playing with a third of a lever or a half of a lever. You follow what I'm saying? In order for you to fully play, you at least got to control one lever on the board. Control it. The game is controlled. So your maneuvers, your reporting, your accounting is all going to be based on your perception of control. Accredited investors don't have to have transactions insured. That's why they qualify for larger amounts of insurance because they're insuring something else. When you don't have this knowledge, they got to insure you up to a certain amount because you don't know what you're doing.
Okay. So then, if we want a equities CUSIP for the trust, then what would we do?
You go to the appropriate website, pay your $230 in fiat, and assign a CUSIP to that security. The question is, now that you assign it, now that it's registered, if you do nothing but your private conveyances, what do you think the DTC and DTCC is doing with that information? Well, they're creating other securities off of it. Mission accomplished.
Now, does this also tie into what you were teaching or presenting concerning Dun and Bradstreet being able to put a bond in Dun and Bradstreet?
Right. Like, this is where you would make that lonely trip to Washington, D.C., and you'll take your paperwork to the Secretary of State or the Attorney General's office there in Washington, D.C., and you will make a physical deposit of your paperwork.
So is there a way for us to be able to get the forms that we need to do this?
Yeah. Matter of fact, the software is creating those documents for you. Like,
okay.
Well, like and if I do this, everybody want me to do this, but I'm gonna do this just to kind of show you and show everyone else this. I'm gonna pull your file out of the software, so you kind of see. Well, I can't go through all of it. I'm just gonna show you what I can. All right, you're seeing my screen. All right, so now I'm finna bring up my list of loans. And let's see if it'll give me something here. All right, it's processing the loans. All right, there's Tremaine right here. All right, boom. All right. All right. Now I want to see the terms. You're still in processing. All right. And we got a 180-month cycle here. These are the terms. Let's see. This is the schedule. All right. This is the scheduler right here. So, based upon where we are with this auditing cycle, this would be, there we go. Let's go to collateral. Here we go. $500 million in collateral. So what's on this, what you have in terms, we're going to say 40 mil. In your accounting ledger, with your collateral, there's a $500 million base. So everything that you deal with in terms of disbursements, if credits decrease your normal balance, credits decrease your normal balance, and debits increase your normal balance, the loan is considered a credit. And you got a 500.
If I did something, you said if I did something like Go Capital or.
Yeah, listen to how I'm finna say this. We're just talking accounting, so it doesn't matter what we say after this. I'm giving you the fundamentals.
Okay.
Right now, you have a $500 million debit and a $50 million credit. So your accounting cycle has to work in tandem between those two spaces. Your transactions are going to start flipping these levers down. And this schedule is going to operate in tandem. Now we're going to go here. In this loan, I should have, let's see. Who else we got? We should have guarantors. All right. Who's your guarantor? All right. We got Go Capital right there. That's a guarantor. Let's say Go Capital now wants to see what would this money transmittal bond look like to them? Like, what paperwork will they get out of this portal that will make them guarantee this structure? Well, looking at your loan, looking at your interest, looking at what's due, this balance right here is what they're looking at. They get a security. They get a money transmittal bond of that amount. Your loan amount is only that amount. Get it? They come in the back door and get their hands on this. So they got no problem advancing that. And yeah, you see the release dates. These, I'm just showing you yours so you kind of get where we're going. You see that?
So yeah, okay, I see where we're at with that. So, and I would take this, like, this will become like a case study or like a summary.
Right, exactly.
So
it's going to print out a summary.
So I could get a QSIP. I would get a QSIP against this.
You'll get a QSIP against this, right? This will be what it's worth. This is the encumbrance. This is the parameters you would need to monetize. So what it looks like on the prospectus, it's going to cost the investor $2 million to get a hold of a $40 million asset. Ain't a bad buy-in.
So then if I wanted to increase my loan value, then I would basically add insurance to this.
There you go. But the software does it for you. I'm just showing you this aspect of it to illustrate the example so you kind of put a visual to the questions that you're asking. That makes sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So as long as I'm patient with this, at the end, once we're done this part of the cycle, then as far as what I want to do with DTC or FedNow or BNB, I can basically just wait, and then this will be my foundational document.
Exactly. And you're going to get statements and all this stuff. All this stuff populates all this stuff. It's just it goes through an audit with the KYC. That's why you're in the audit. You're in the audit processing. You're in the scheduling.
Okay. And
see, the investors and the guarantors, they're working in the interim. So yeah, of course, if you're bringing me other cases, because they go through this. Some of these guys, like all of the investors, they peg this system every 15 minutes. They do it twice a day, 2 times a week. So if they're looking at loan number 001, for example, and they're looking at the principal, and they're saying, okay, well, on Monday it was 2.5, and on Friday, if this is what they're looking at. You follow where I'm going at? They're looking at that. They're looking at that. And this is why when we preach and teach that money sells itself, when you're doing the accounting and doing what you're doing in this capacity, it'll reciprocate. These other investors they know nothing about Mr. Williams other than the fact that you're sitting on this type of security, and they want a piece of it. They just need to know how much it's going to cost to get it.
So if I'm adding, like, okay, so since I have like withholdings from my other tax credits, I would add that, and that would be
exactly right. It'll onboard into the system, and then is brought in and placed in on the accounting ledger.
So then we'll be receiving a statement from you.
Right.
Okay, so now when we go out to do what we do, we don't have to look for it.
Right. You already got it. Right.
Got it. Okay, so all I got to do is just hand them that and let them.
Right. It's the system's going to do what it's designed to do.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I'm good. I got you. I'm clear now. I'm clear.
All right. Okay. Stop share. Okay. Do we have any other questions pertaining to funding from the DTC and DTCC? If I've already done unmuted you and you done asked question, but you got another question, you can preferably unmute yourself, ask a question, or press 9-4 on your keypad. We're at the Q&A aspect of this particular proponent. Any other questions pertaining to how funding works from the DTC and DTCC? We don't have no questions. Everybody is they good. They Gucci. Y'all ready to get rolling? I mean, look, I'm gonna be fair. Everybody unmuted now. Before I jump off this thing, is there anybody who got any questions, comments, or concerns over how the funding works from the DTC and DTCC? Going once.
I got a question.
Okay. All right. Talk to me, big bro.
First of all, I appreciate that overview that you just did. That brought a lot more clarity from the investor's perspective. My question is, that's our own personal files of all the arbitrations that we do that we then put into loan deals.
Right.
So when it comes to any clients that we're dealing with, we have a separate contract with them because these are the things that's going on the asymmetric side. And when it comes to the client that, for the funding, that's a separate contract with them. These are two separate things that's going on at the same time.
In tandem. Right. In tandem. Correct. This is why I'm encouraging everybody to bring the more cases you have. Once you have gone through arbitration and you have a value, it's how you're using that value. My job is to be the scorekeeper, provide the resources, and point the asset to where it needs to go.
Okay. So another question. The loan term that we establish with the clients that we bring in based upon, whatever amount it is that they want, we pretty much control that narrative.
Exactly. That's why we do it through arbitration. Exactly. That's why when you became a loan officer with Gold Capital, it was imperative that you understood that there's an arbitration clause that allows you to use arbitration to close these loans. It's just if you don't, the same underwriting software I just showed you, Gold Capital has underwriting software too. I'm just giving you the option to use one on the front end as well as the one on the back end.
Right.
That's why it doesn't matter where the client's credit is at. It's about bankability and markability.
Exactly, because technically every 90 days it closes.
Exactly. You want to be exactly. If you do this right, it becomes perpetual. And what's supposed to happen if there's 30 people in it? Everybody's supposed to get a turn with the platform. Everybody gets a turn with the platform.
So with this, then it would be to our best interest to add our indemnity bonds to this platform.
There you go. Right, then, because let me be real clear. I started doing arbitration with you guys because I had an identity bond that I had to use for my own family endeavors, and now I can't use it for myself. I can only help others. I'm hoping that once you make your evolution, you'll pick up the baton. Because when you pick up the baton, not only is perpetual, it's an ongoing system. Every person is supposed to do the exact same thing, in tandem. The bond that I put up gives you the opportunity to perfect your bond. Then you use your bond, but it's being used for someone else.
So then how long does it take for our information to populate in your system once we start putting information in?
It populates instantly. It's just a matter of how the scheduler is running. Like right now, I pegged the release dates to 30 days out because I'm waiting on other individuals to get into a certain position. I can't do all this stuff and arbitrate. Like I need to do more cases so I can grow the portfolio. So here's what's happening. I do about 5 or 6 cases. I go underwater for about 5, 6 days, come back up, do another 5, 6 cases. Go on, that's what's happening. Now, if everybody is doing their part, I can schedule 5 hearings in 4 days. We can do 3 to 4 hearings a day. The portfolio will grow because this is how Eris is set up. It's designed to automate this whole process.
So then each time we add a new component, or if we're going backwards,
every time.
I'm saying if we're going backwards as we're putting information in, right? Or if we're going forward as we're putting information in, then every 30 days our statement in Eris updates itself.
Correct.
Okay. So then what you need us to do is basically help with the other parts of
exactly
building the portfolio. So as we bring
building the portfolio, that's right. You work. That's why you've already onboarded with Gold Capital. You've already onboarded with North Avenue Capital. You want to start, pegging these guarantors into the structures. Use their warehouse lines as your own credit card. Is what I'm trying to really get you to use.
Well, I still haven't come to understand how do we find what that value becomes, what their warehouse line becomes, because like you were saying, their assets become our assets.
Right. It's about contracting. Like, I don't know no other way to say it in this conversation to demonstrate it other than this. If you tell me that you're going to call UPS on Monday and you're going to issue 15 promissory notes and you're going to send 15 1098Fs, and if you're in each one of these things that you're sending, this is all for reporting. Now, Eris is an arbitration registration investment system. It is doing the exact same thing that Chris is doing. It's just I'm just in one region. I'm not in 12 different regions and 50 states and this, that, and the other. I'm just in one region. What's supposed to happen is hopefully you guys become compliance officers, build your team. Then we do have regions and so forth. Once I got 2 other fiduciaries that want to meet every week, we now deal in the outer realm of this. Like, okay, look, guys like Michael Strong, Eternity Law, these are big practitioners in this conveyance space. And they post a lot of stuff in places like DealStream to continue. Like, they'll go through an acquired parcel of real estate, but when they get real estate and they buy businesses, they end up with all this other stuff that they go through a litigation process, but they need to have another practitioner do something with it. So I got law firms that want to buy your cases. I got law firms that want to buy your methodology of conveyance. They will invest into these structures through what we're putting together. I'm not going to call it a private placement. I'm going to call it a private exchange because I don't think no one in this circle of conversation is licensed. So I'm going to say it this way. But that's ultimately what we're getting ready to ramp into.
So then wouldn't we be able to at least acquire, like if you're saying the law firms have certain businesses or assets that they want to basically get rid of, wouldn't we be able to purchase them?
Portfolio, ledger to ledger, yeah. Accounting, it's all accounting. You're doing LBOs, exactly.
Or could we at least put in some kind of request to say what we're looking for?
Exactly. That way, you see, once you understand how the system works, the same way they're putting in request and DealStream, you're able to put in one.
Okay, so then I need to upload the rest of this information. I had the information. I was waiting to give it to UCC, but that's not as beneficial.
See, when you're growing the portfolio, and then see once you come out of this audit mode and you're ready to go from A to B, I'm giving you your login to your portion of this portal. Now you're online with the guarantor and the investor. But, they're not holding class. They're looking for docs. They're looking for, okay, they're looking
They're
for
ready to
ma'am.
transact.
They're ready to transact. And the great thing about it, you got an AI that's in front of you as well. So you just gotta just feed the algorithm.
And we can do it live right then and there.
Right, because you're interacting from your AI to their AI, vice versa.
Mm-hmm. I'm about to let the lions loose.
That's how it rocks. Any other question before I jump out of here? Because we got to do our last evening prayers coming up in a minute.
So as far as compensation,
Mm-hmm.
like, you know what I'm saying, there should be some type of compensation given to the platform for what we're doing, right? Like, don't you guys get a percentage of what we're doing?
Yeah, this is why when you come out of that audit mode, all of that goes into all the stuff you've been building. You now put it into action. So trustee compensation, all that stuff comes into play. When you start going, the homework assignment was designed to get us into compensation conversations, because when you take a deal and crunch it through Chat GPT and run it back where you're ready to make a response, you're ready to get into that mode.
So would that make us beneficiaries of the trust, or are we going to be?
It depends. It all depends upon your political status and your intent. I can say unequivocally, you can be whatever you want to be in that aspect. It's all it takes is a form and some time and ingenuity.
All right.
All right. Any other questions? Going once. Going twice.
So basically, right here, I got not really a question, just adding to. So basically, we can structure the deal from a client perspective, the flip side that's going on at the same time, any type of way that we want to structure it, period.
Right. You just need the data. As long as you got the data, and long as you understand the construct, you're exactly right.
Okay, so when it comes to Go Capital and North Avenue Capital, and just with those two, when we want to make acquisitions for a client in that regard, that's really however it is that we want to structure that. We just need to be able to meet the guidelines and standards that you've already established with them in order to be able to do the ledger conveyance.
Correct. Like, for example, I'm pulling up my list of guarantors. And these guarantors, you can reach out. You already have Go Capital, North Avenue Capital's information, but I got private investors. I got a long growing list of guarantors who offer very specific. This is why you want to be looking really hard on DealStream, but they're going to tell you what TI is. And if you're smart, you'll take that technology and break down what they're talking about. But definitely, if you want, like I talked about Michael Strong a couple of times, and there's a reason why, because Mike's got a lot of things going on. Those of you that's kind of ready to take your structure to the next level, just reach out to me directly in Bitrix. We'll do maybe like more of a one-on-one where I can, preferably introduce you to him. We can get into some conversation. But this is for those you got already in the banking in the box and got your stuff on point. You're ready to push it on down the hill here. Mike's real aggressive. I'm telling you. He's gonna want to know what you're tied to, so he can convey some information over to you, so you can move.
Right, and that's what Eris is.
Right.
Right.
There you go. You just got to know. That's what I'm saying. If you want to know more about each particular guarantor, just like how you got access to the website for Go Capital, all these entities got websites too.
Okay. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, definitely. Look, I appreciate you guys. Look, I gotta jump out of here and switch gears right quick for this evening. Look, I appreciate everybody's interaction today. If you got any other questions, comments, or concerns, just drop it inside the Bitrix, and I'll do my best to try to definitely get at everybody. And with that, I'm gonna say peace and love, family.
Peace and love.
And love.
Peace and love, brother.
Mm-hmm.